Jai Janendra. As you know, we are studying this course on karma and science, and karma is an important part of the course, So we shall study about karma in 2 lectures. In the first lecture today, we start from the beginning. You know about the soul. Soul in Jainism is a non-physical and eternal substance. However, the soul naturally does not exist in the pure state. It is found in embodied state. That means the soul has been existing with the body right from beginning or beginningless time. And this embodiment of the soul is due to karma. So karma is an important factor in the life of soul. Those philosophies who believe in karma also believe in rebirth. So these 2 concepts, that is the concept of karma and concept of rebirth go together. Now both have to be accepted in order that we understand the doctrine of karma. And this doctrine of karma, as you know, is the central theme of Jain philosophy. The whole Jain philosophy stands on this doctrine. And this doctrine is the law of causality for the soul. That is, the cause and effect relationship in the case of matter, as studied in science, also applies to soul. The soul follows the causality law, that is cause and effect. The main premises of this law is number 1, there are consequences to each action of the soul. So whatever activities are being performed by the soul has to experience or suffer the consequences of these activities. That's number 1. And number 2, consequences of these actions are experienced by the soul performing the actions. That means if you are performing the actions, you have to experience the consequences, and there is no one else who can do it or who can experience consequences on your behalf. And this tradition of cause and effect is beginningless, because the soul has been existing in the mundane state or in the embodied state from beginningless time. So this relationship between the cause and the soul, between the karma and the soul, is also beginningless. Then we have 2 important concepts regarding karma, what we call as a bhav karma and dravya karma. So when a soul is engaged in any kind of activity, 2 things happen. Number 1, an impression of the activities is made on the soul. And this impression introduces an impurity in the soul. So whatever activities we are performing, they are being recorded in a way in the soul. Second, a fine kind of subtle matter known as Karman Vargana is attracted from the cosmos and gets associated with the soul. So in the first thing, as you know, the soul has an impression of the activities. And the second, some very fine matter which is present all over cosmos is being attracted by the soul, and it gets associated with the soul. This forms what is known as a karma. So the former, that is the impurities of the soul, is known as bhav karma, and the later, that is the fine matter which is incoming and getting associated with the soul, is known as dravya karma, and karma in the physical form. So the incoming matter gets associated with the soul in the form of karma. Because activities bond karma, the collection of these physical karmas form a body called karman body. So, every time you bond or you associate karma, these karmas accumulate and form a body which is known as a karman body. So, the karman body is the one that contains karma. The soul has never been without karman body. It has always been associated with the karman body. And the soul exists in the impure state from beginningless time. As I said earlier, the soul has never been pure. It has always been impure due to karma. Two types of karma, that is the bhav karma and the dravya karma, they maintain dynamic equilibrium, satisfying the principle of parallelism. We have to understand this point, The two karmas, the two types of karmas, the bhav karma and the dravya karma, are in continuous equilibrium, which means that a change is one in any one of them will cause a equal and corresponding change in the other. That is, if the bhav karma changes due to actions of the soul, the dravya karma will also change. Or in the other way around, if there is a change in dravya karma, the bhav karma will also change with equal amount. What do these karmas do? These karmas hinder manifestation of the natural powers of the soul. We already know that the soul has some natural powers, like it has infinite intelligence, it has an infinite perception, it has infinite sukh or bliss, and it has infinite spiritual power. These powers of the soul are not manifested in the embodied state. So their manifestation is hindered by these karmas. So only a part of these powers manifest actually. So the infinite powers never manifest as long as karmas are associated with the soul. There is another subtle body which we call as a tejas body, or what we call as a bioenergy body. That vitalizes the gross body, and we will study about it later in our later lectures. But these two bodies, the karman body and the energy body, they accompany the soul when the soul migrates from one body to another body. So if the death occurs in one body, the soul migrates to another place and assumes another body. So during this process of migration, the karman body and the tejas body also go along with the soul. So these two bodies have always been associated with the soul, irrespective of whether the soul exists in one body or another or third and so on. These two bodies, that is the soul, the karman body and the energy body, the bioenergy body, they extend the space of the gross material body. So what we see, is the gross material body. We see an organism or a person as a body, as we see the body. So the soul, the karman body and the tejas body, all these three extend the same space as the gross or the material body which we see, So they are coexisting, in the same body. So our existence has three tiers. Number one, we have a soul. Number two, we have subtle bodies in the form of two bodies, and the gross body which we see. So there are these three levels or the three tiers of existence. And all these three units together determine or constitute our personality and performance. What we are and what we do is because of these three units. And this has been explained in figure here. On the left hand side you see the soul, and I had divided the soul in two parts. The impure soul has been divided in two parts rather. First, a pure soul S and a bhav karma BK, which are impurities of the soul. So I have shown these two separately here, but in fact, they constitute the soul or the impure soul. In the middle, you have the subtle bodies, the karman body that is in the form of dravya karma, and T is the tejas body. And on the extreme right, you see the GB, gross body. So these are the three units of our existence, and the gross body is continuously interacting with dravya karma, and these interactions you will study in later lectures, And on the other hand, the dravya karma and the bhava karma in the soul, they are also continuously interacting, So a change in bhava karma will cause a change in dravya karma, and the opposite, a change in dravya karma will cause a change in bhava karma. What are the effects of karma on the soul? This is very important and we must understand it very clearly. Influx of karma into the soul is known as ashrav. It's a technical term. Ashrav means inflow of karma into the soul, And this is caused by the activity of the soul, The soul performs three kinds of activities, So activity of a body, a verbal activity, that is speech, and mental activity, the activity of mind, So whatever activity is being performed by the soul, there is an influx of karma. And in what way these karmas affect the soul? Number one, affect its perversity. Perversity is mistaken belief that considers non-truth as truth, such as I am body. There are many people in the world, who think that I am body, and that is not true. In fact, you are soul, and you have a body, but you are soul, So if somebody says that I am body, this is untruth. This is the perversity, the effect of karma. The second effect, he has a non-abstinence. That is, you engage in violent activities and for body comforts and enjoyment, This is what most of the people are doing, They consider themselves a body and all their activities are directed towards arranging comfort for the body, This is the effect of karma. And in this process, the well-being of the soul is overlooked, In fact, they don't recognize soul, So the question of overlooking comes afterwards, But even if they are aware of it, they overlook the interest of soul and they are always engaged in body comforts. Then the third effect is remissness, the lack of spirituality. So, such persons are not spiritual. And the next one is patience. Patience again is a technical term in Jain philosophy, and the patience are of four types: ego, deceit, greed, and anger. So the anger is the main passion, we normally get angry on one pretext or the another. So anger is the main passion. Then of course we have ego, we have deceit, we have greed, and besides these passions, we also have known as a quasi-passions. What these are, we will learn about them later. Then activities. As I said, we have activities of body, mind and speech. The soul is engaged in these activities because of karma. A pure soul will never engage in these kinds of activities. So all these five features are absent in the pure soul and they are present in the embodied soul like us. Then we talk about bonding of karma. These activities which we are performing, they cause vibrations in the soul and also vibrations in the karman body. And the vibrating karman body attracts subtle karman varganas from cosmos. There is probably some kind of resonance effect. So when the karman body is vibrating, the karman varganas from the cosmos, perhaps of the same frequency, get attracted. And these incoming karman varganas, they bind with the existing karman body, because of patience. If the patience were not there, the incoming karman varganas will not bond with the karman body. So the patience are acting as a glue in a way, so that the patience cause binding of the incoming karman varganas to the karman body. So these karmas which we bond have 4 defining parameters. Number 1, numerical strength, or what is called as a pradesh bandh. The amount of subtle matter bonding at any time, which is infinite number of karma varganas bond with each soul pradesha. So the concept of pradesha has to be understood first, We have one soul, but that soul can be divided into minute space points, And the smallest space point of the soul is known as a pradesha. And this pradesha is also defined on the basis of parmanu of matter. So a parmanu, which is the smallest constituent of matter, the space occupied by that parmanu is pradesha. So the pradesha of the soul is the same as the pradesha of matter, And the soul is supposed to have innumerable pradeshas, uncountable number of pradeshas. And these karman varganas or karmas are binding to each pradesha of the soul. So there are innumerable pradeshas, each pradesha binding karma, and that also in infinite number. So you can appreciate the amount of bonding which is taking place at every moment. Then the second one is the nature of karma, or what is known as a prakriti bandh. So this karma which is bonding has got a certain type or certain nature because of their peculiarity of what kind of hindrance or obstruction they cause to the soul. So there are 8 types of karma. First one is called the Jnanavaraniya karma, or the karma which obstructs or obscures the knowledge or the intelligence property of the soul, or the cognition quality of the soul. This karma obscures and limits the pure and perfect cognition knowledge by the soul. So you don't have infinite capacity of cognition, but you have a very finite one because of this karma. The second one is what is known as Darshanavarniya karma, or perception obscuring karma. And this karma obscures or restricts the perception ability of the soul. So your perception is not perfect. The third karma is what is known as a Mohaniya karma or deluding karma. And this has 2 divisions. Number 1, belief deluding or darshan Mohaniya karma. And this karma hinders the perception of truth. So you don't perceive the truth. One considers himself to be body, for example, which is known truth. And the second is the conduct deluding or charitra mohaniya karma, And this hinders equanimity of conduct. So the equanimity of conduct is obstructed because of this karma. Then the fourth one is known as antaraya karma, or what is known as vitality or activity obstructing karma. This karma produces obstruction in the expression of vitality and good activities of the soul. So the vitality of the soul is not manifested 100% way, but it is obstructed, and the soul is not performing good activities, because of obstruction of this karma. And the fifth one is Vedani, or what is known as a feeling producing karma. A pure soul enjoys perfect bliss, as I told you earlier, and this karma produces the feeling and experience of pleasure and pain. So the pleasure and pain, which are our normal experiences, are because of this karma. A pure soul does not make these kind of experiences. It experiences only bliss. The next, the sixth one is Ayush karma, or age determining karma. So this karma determines the lifespan in a particular realm, which is, for example, in animal form or human form or infernal form or in the heavenly mode. So the soul will stay in this mode for a particular span of time, and this is determined by Ayush karma. And the next one is Nam karma, or form producing karma, which determines our shape and our structure, body structure, our body architecture, and so on. So this karma decides the form, the structure, the detailed architecture, our outward appearances, and all other features of the body. And this is a general term in the sense that it applies to all species in the world. Then the last one is what is known as a Gotra karma, or status determining karma. This karma refers to the quality of life we have, and it also includes the hereditary effects, which we talk very much in science. These karmas can be grouped in two classes or two groups. One group is called psychical or ghati karma. So the first four types of karma, that is Jnana-Varniya, Darshana-Varniya, Mohin, and Antaraya. These four types of karma inhibit full manifestation of the soul powers, the psychical soul powers, and they determine our psychical performance or psychical personality. The other four, that is the Vedani karma, Gotra karma, Nam karma, and Ayush karma, they are Aghati karma, and what we call as a biological karma. These karmas do not interfere with the psychical performance of the soul, but at the same time keep the soul embodied. So the soul will have to have a body so long as these karmas are present. The third feature, the parameter of karma, is duration or sthiti bandh. These karmas which are being born, will stay with the soul for a particular duration. And the total duration of bond consists of two parts, passive and active duration. In the passive period called abadha kal, the karma exercises no effect on the soul. The karma is there in the karman body. It is associated with the soul, but does not exercise any effect on the soul. This is a passive period of karma. And in the active period, the soul experiences the effects of karma. So this karma becomes active now, and the soul would experience their effect. This is active period. And the last parameter is intensity of bond, what is known as anubhag bandh. So the intensity of experience when the karma becomes active is decided by this particular parameter, anubhag bandh. Now we talk about another concept, which is known as states of karma. What is the state of karma which is associated with the soul? So there are 10 states of karma. One is bandh or bound. That is, at the time of bonding karma, the karma is in a particular state, This is known as bandh or the bond state of karma. The second one is udvartana or augmentation. This means that the duration and intensity of the bound karma matter will be augmented, will be increased. So these two features, the duration and intensity, can be increased. The third one is apvartana or attenuation. It means reducing the duration and intensity of bound karma. This is another state. The fourth one is asatta or existence. So the time for which the karma gets or remains associated with the soul is asatta. It is in existence in its form with the soul. So that is asatta time. Then there is another one is uday or rise. The state when karma starts giving its fruits is called rise, or uday. So the karma changes its state from passive to active, it gets rise, and then it gives its fruits to the soul. And number 6 is udirana or premature rise. Although, as I said the karma is bound for a certain amount of period, but this period can be changed and karma can be made to rise prematurely, before time of maturity. This is due to the power of the soul. The next one is what is known as sankramana or transformation. It means mutual transfer or transformation of homogeneous karmic cluster. So the karmic cluster can be transformed. It can be transformed from one nature to another. Such a transformation takes place in the nature or duration or intensity or quantum of karmic mass. Any one of these 4 features can be transformed or changed. And this is the power of the soul. The transformation, there are certain conditions for transformation. Excuse me. The transformation can take place from one subtype to another subtype of the same kind of karma, but it cannot change from one type of karma to another type of karma. So this is a condition attached to transformation. One basic type of karma cannot be transformed into another basic type. These basic types are 8, as we mentioned. And mutual transfer is not possible among the 4 varieties of age determining karma. What are the 4 varieties of age determining karma? That is age in the form of say non-human or the animal being, a human being, an infernal being, or a heavenly being. These 4. So once the karma has been bound for a particular variety, so for example as an animal being, that cannot be changed. So the mutual change among these 4 varieties of age is not possible. And the next one is upsaman or subsidence. So the soul can suppress the deluding karma rising and giving its fruits. So soul has the power to suppress the deluding karma only, not other karmas, so that it will not give its fruits or its rise is stopped for some time. Then nidhati or incapacitation of all but some kind of transformations. So the transformations which we are discussing, some of them are possible and some are not. It means making the karmic matter incapable of all processes except a reduction or augmentation of duration and intensity. These specific changes are possible, but no other change is possible in the case of nidhati. And the last one is nikachan, or what is an annulled transformation. No kind of change is possible in karma. It means making the karmic clusters incapable of any kind of revision whatsoever, such as augmentation or reduction, etc. The soul necessarily has to experience the fruits of karma which has been born. So you have no option except to experience the fruits of karma. This karma cannot be changed in this case. Then we will now talk something about the rise of karma, how the karma rises. The bondage and rise of karma is a continuous process. There is a continuous bonding and there is a continuous rise of karma. Some activity of the mind, body and speech is generally taking place every moment, which means that karma is active at every moment. Because the activities cannot be stopped, the rise of karma and the bonding of karma also cannot be stopped. The rise of karma takes place in two ways. Number one, the rise of karma on maturity of duration of the period for which it was born. So the karma will rise only after maturity period. The soul experiences the fruits of the rise without any invitation. So when the time is over, the karma will rise whether you like or not, and it will give its fruits. The rise of karma before maturity. It is possible, the soul has power to make this happen, So due to the soul initiative, this is possible. The rise can be caused by voluntary action of the soul, and the experiences occur due to its self-initiative. That is, you can early rise and experience the fruits early as compared to the maturity time. And the fruition is very important. The life exists because of the fruition of karma. Because the karma is giving fruits at every moment, karma is rising, or some in other way it is giving fruit, and it is because of this that the body, the material body exists. If this activity of karma stops, the body will not exist. So the fruition takes place for a particular cause. This is important. When the fruition of karma will take place. So we now bring in another concept here, what is known as a cause for which the karma gets rise. So a cause in general is that which affects the action. So the action cannot take place without a cause, general rule. For any action, there are two types of causes. Number one, the main cause, what we call as upadan in Jain darshan. The cause that transforms into action is called the main or the substantive cause. And another one is known as auxiliary or a nimitta cause. It's a secondary cause. The helping cause, it is a helping cause for the action to take place, which motivates the main cause. And during the action, the auxiliary cause does not transform into the main cause and is therefore not destroyed during the activity. However, the auxiliary cause influences the main cause. So we have two types of cause, the main cause, which converts itself into action, and auxiliary or nimit cause, which only acts as a catalyst. It helps the main cause to do its work, but the auxiliary cause is not transforming into the action. Say, for example, you are walking and you stumble and fall down and you get hurt. There is some injury. Now, what is the main cause and what is the auxiliary cause here? The auxiliary cause is that you stumbled and you come across some obstacle and you stumbled and fell down. So that becomes the auxiliary cause. And what is the main cause? Some Vedini karma will rise in the soul and the soul will experience the effect of injury or the hurt which you have experienced. So there are two different things which are happening. One, the body is happening to body in terms of injury or some hurt. So this is the body experiences this, but the soul experiences something different. Soul experiences because of rise of karma in the soul itself. The soul is the upadan or the main cause. The body is the auxiliary cause. So the two causes are different. And the body has suffered because of your stumbling, auxiliary cause, and that does not convert itself into the upadan, the main cause, the hurt. So it's possible that the body gets hurt, but you don't experience it. This is possible. The auxiliary cause or the nimitta is of two types. The number one, the karma is the main auxiliary cause. The karma also is a nimitta. The soul is upadan. And there is no karma, which is a supporting auxiliary cause in the rise of karma. And this again is of two types, no karma. So there is a karma and no karma. The term no karma you have to understand very carefully. What is non-karma? No karma. There are two types of no karma. One is bonded no karma, another is non-bonded no karma. What is bonded no karma? For example, your energy body or the gross body is a bonded no karma. It's a no karma. It's not karma, but at the same time it is bonded to the soul. So it is a bonded no karma. And this acts as a nimitta or the auxiliary cause. And non-bonded no karma, that is external objects like your family members, your contacts, your wealth, your property, society, geological, climatical conditions, environmental conditions, external objects and so on. All things which are external to the body, they also are auxiliary cause, or they may become auxiliary cause depending upon the situation, and they affect our soul. Generally, the fruition of karma does not take place without auxiliary cause and nimitta. This is important. So a nimitta has to be present, in order that the karma rises or karma gets fruition and the soul experiences. So nimitta also plays an important role, although this is not the main cause. The fruition of karma is a regular process. It's continuously going on, and it may take place due to one or more causes. The number of causes can be, auxiliary cause can be one or more than one, both external and internal. One or more types of karma, up to 8 types of karma, can experience fruition at some time. You may ask a question, out of the 8 types, how many gets fruition in one, or how many rise at a particular time? Well, it's possible for all 8 karmas to rise at a time, and normally more than one will get a rise at a time. Lastly, we discuss a very important concept, who decides our destiny? Is that the karma? Is that the karma that decides our destiny? Or in other words, are we slaves to karma? So this is a very important question, and here comes the concept of free will. Soul has free will. This is very important to understand. Soul has free will. it is free to act, it's not bound by karma. And there is no other commander or controlling power on the soul. Soul can decide on its own, and which is called as a free will. This is the doctrine of soul, and the soul is the maker and unmaker of itself, or the maker and unmaker of the destiny. Mahavira, in his philosophy, defines karma as a result of free will. We are free to act, but then you bond karma. You are not free to not to bond karma. No, that option does not lie with you. If you are acting, you bond karma. If the patients are present, So you are free to act, but you are not free in case of bonding of karma. So even one has to exercise the free will with caution. You have to exercise your free will in a way so that you don't bond karma or minimize bonding of karma. That's very important. No conflict with the doctrine of karma. Soul initiative bonds karma. So both free will and karma are important. They have their role in deciding our destiny. So everything in life is not determined because you have a free will, remember. And there are 5 determinants which decide our destiny. Number 1, nature of soul. That's a very important part of the whole thing. The soul wants peace and happiness. Whatever soul, whether it's anybody in the world, whether whether he believes in soul or not, whether he is a normal person or a mentally ill person, or even suppose he is some kind of bad person, or so everybody wants peace and happiness, and the soul always strives for peace and happiness. Even a terrorist, will strive for peace and happiness in his life. So that's one point. The second point is circumstances or the external environment. That's one of the deciding factors. So we have no control on them. We have no control on the external environment. For example, meeting and departing the beloved ones. Loss and profit in life, social norms, society in which you are living, natural calamities, government rules and policies, and so on. All these things, are not in our control, and they constitute the circumstances in which we have to live. So they are all external environment and affect our destiny. Third is time. Time also is a very big factor. There are opportune or favorable times, when you get everything is performed favorably or according to what you want, and there are unfavorable times, where things go wrong and not to your liking. Say for example, growth. So we grow, from childhood to youth, and then to the your old age and so on. So the growth is a phenomena, and there are certain times, certain things happen in the childhood when you are born, certain things happen in youth, certain things happen in old age and so on. So time is an important factor. Then karma, of course we know, karma are the ones which give their fruits, and we have to suffer the consequences. So karma is an important factor, and this is the internal environment, and as far as the soul is concerned, and this is an important factor deciding our destiny, and we have discussed about it. Then lastly, the free will, or what is known as a purusharth. So the soul has the power to do purusharth or take some initiative, and it is a free will. So we can take initiative, a good initiative or the proper initiative, and so we make choices, we have options. All these things we experience in our daily life. So this is another factor, deciding our destiny, the free will. But as I said earlier, the free will has to be exercised very cautiously so that you don't bond karma or bond minimum of karma. So we have talked about the karmas, the doctrine of karma in this lecture, and we'll go in details in our second lecture. Thank you.